Hey everybody, Jay Lagan here with enrollment charts. Uh, been working on our dashboards, have a couple of new charts set up. These are pretty cool. We'll take a look, take a little spin. But we're going to be talking about what we call around here the two kings. That's India and that's China. We've been talking about the paradigm shift. And Ted and I, we wrote a blog about this last year, and we've been identifying that the two kings, India and China, have kind of taken their foot off the gas, and we've been looking for other countries that might be stepping up to support that. And everything's kind of changed since Trump and the 2.0 thing. So why don't we just dive into the data and look there, and that way we can avoid all the emotional, maybe, I don't know, and just see what the data really says, because it's interesting. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dive over here, move over here to my dashboard, and I'm looking at a new page here called Ed Levels. And what I've done here, I've selected graduate, I've selected Asia, I selected India underneath country, and then I scrolled down to where it says PRC, People's Republic of China, and I held down Control and selected that so that I can select more than one country at a time. So right now I'm looking at People's Republic of China, which is a red rectangle, and India, which is a gray square. I'm going to explain to you what this means. So the size of the square or rectangle is the volume of students. So at this moment, People's Republic of China is sending more graduate students to the U.S. than India. And this is being measured in I-94s, if anyone else is curious. So I'm going to hover my cursor over PRC, and you get like a little toolkit box that opens up. And you can see here you've got 28,526 graduate students that whose I-94s have been triggered in the U.S. between September and December of 2025. But it's under its average by 4.4%. So in our world, we would typically say that that looks fallible. Maybe it's doing well right now, but could easily be going lower or below that average. Something we'd want to think about. Meanwhile, India, fewer students. What is this? 19,335. It is 1.86% above its average for grad students. But this isn't the whole story. And here's where I want to make things more interesting. So I'm going to jump over to our second new page created this week, and it says comparative. And what this does is this is where I would go if I wanted to compare one country to another. So I'm going to click comparative here. And I have two drop down slicers here. One says focus country. That's the country I'm really looking at. And then benchmark country is the country I want to compare it to. So what I've done is I've selected PRC, or People's Republic of China, as my focus country and India as my benchmark country. And would you look at that? Since 2021, China has been growing in an uptrend against India for student graduates. Well, this is for all students, so not just graduate, for students in the United States. This is fascinating. This is the kind of thing that we want to be able to identify to say, hey, India's taking their foot off the gas, and maybe China's putting their foot on the gas, or China's just not falling as hard anymore. So that's the deal when you talk about relative strength. When you talk about comparing one country to another, it might be that one is just falling less than another, or it might be that one is actually growing and the other is a decline. So now that we have this great picture, we realize, hey, China is honestly looking better. And if we remember that we're trying to replace the volume of the Indian decline, we need to now go and look at these charts to see what do they really look like. So now, last page, I'm going to jump over here to trend lines. And so in trend lines, this is Asia. I'm looking at PRC. And what we have here is we have, kind of a high over here in 2017, a higher high over here in 2019, and then that began the big decline in Chinese numbers. And then it rebounded off the COVID lows, and it looks like it made a top here in 2025 and is back onto the decline in 2026. Now, this doesn't look great. It's not a chart that it fills me with confidence because China's not off into the races, but it's not doing so incredibly bad. In 2025, we had 71,771, and in 2026, we have 63,111. So a much smaller decline than, say, if I go over here and use this drop down. And now what I want to do is I want to select India. And look at that. India's high, right? When we use that info box, that toolkit, that was 64,510, and now it's at 39,000. So that's almost a 50% drop in Indian numbers. So that is why China is outperforming, because China has not seen that same drawdown that we've seen in India, which means that, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go back over here to my ed levels chart. When I look over here at PRC versus India, I'm suddenly not as worried about PRC being under its moving average because it's sending more graduate students to the US than India. And even though it's under, it is not seeing the same kind of drawdowns, which means that volume is looking good out of China. And just to finish this up, I'm clicking back on comparative. I've got my chart of PRC over India. And to me, this looks like, yeah, I think this is exactly the time that I would want to start saying, maybe it's begun. It's time to rebuild our Chinese position. Hey guys, hope this has been a good video. Take care, and next time I talk to you, I'll be in Pakistan, and we'll talk then, all right? Hey, take care, everyone. Bye, y'all.